everybody, this is Gavin with SmartPad Property Management, and today we are joined by a special guest, Miss Lindsey Fekete with Farmers Insurance.
Hi.
Thanks for coming on the show, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's jump right into some questions here for all the landlords out there. The first question I want to ask you is, what's the difference between a homeowner's policy and a landlord policy?
That's a great question, Gavin. So a homeowner's policy is for the actual homeowner who lives there. It covers the building and it covers all of their personal property inside of that building.
Okay.
And it covers the people who live there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then the landlord policy is just covering what?
It's covering the building, whether it's the home or the condo. It covers just the stuff that if you were to take the roof off of that building and turn it upside down, it's the stuff that would stay.
Oh.
So anything that would stay is what's covered, and anything that falls out belongs to the renter and is not covered.
Gotcha. Okay. So in terms of what kind of policy, a landlord wants to have, do they have the option of covering the tenant's belongings, or do they have to have a landlord policy and not have a homeowner policy?
So unless they're living there, they have to have a landlord policy.
Gotcha.
They can't get a homeowner's policy.
Gotcha.
And then they can help their renter get a rental, a renter's policy, but they couldn't hold the renter's policy if it's not for them.
Gotcha. Okay. And so that kind of leads me into my next question, which is, oftentimes we hear about the renters themselves having their own renter's policy. So what does that cover, and I guess, and how is it different than the other policies?
So with the renter's policy, what that covers is their personal belongings that they brought to the rental property. So anything that's inside there, and it also covers them for a certain limit of liability if they choose that option,
Right.
or if something happens to their guests on property, have that medical coverage.
Right. Yeah. So one of the things that we require of our tenants is that they carry $100,000 in liability coverage.
Absolutely.
And it seems like some insurers out there don't include that in their renter's policy, but some do. Is that a pretty common thing to happen, or do most of them cover it?
So I'm not as familiar with everyone's liability coverages on their policies, but it is an option, I believe, for everyone. And it's something that we include in ours. There's different levels that you can have. So you can.
At Farmers.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Cool. So from the landlord's perspective then, is having the landlord policy enough if they own rental properties, or should they have some other kind of umbrella or business policy that they use as well?
It's a great question. So it depends. Do they want to pay now, or do they want to pay later? So if they want to pay now and have that coverage and have their insurance company cover them, it's a great idea for any business owner, period, to have an insurance policy, and then to have an umbrella policy on top of that to cover any excess liability, because you just never know these days. People are sue happy, and an umbrella policy will cover above that amount.
Gotcha. So here's a follow-up question to that, which was kind of off the list, so to speak.
Yeah, that's okay.
Does it matter if the home is owned by a corporate entity, an LLC, or individual owner? Does that change the cost of the policy at all, or in the other details?
It changes the type of policy for sure. We have the option to do a lot of different types with Farmers Insurance. I don't know if every agency can write one for an LLC, so we go through our product called Foremost, and I can do a landlord with it being a corporate entity as the owner. So there's not all of them can, but many do.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for the information. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Excellent. Well, guys, if you have any questions, about how to properly insure your property, how to, mitigate any potential risks that are out there, feel free to reach out to Lindsey. Her contact information will be in the post below, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.